Today we're learning about my favorite parable, and today's story is about a farmer and some of the seeds that he had planted. And this is my favorite time of the year. I love to plant flowers, I love to garden, and one of my absolute favorite things to do is to plant a vegetable garden. And I enjoy getting to plant the seeds and watching them grow and then checking them each day to see if they've sprouted up out of the ground. And it's really fun to grow your own vegetables and then to eat your own vegetables because you feel like you've had a part in that whole process. But what's really frustrating, though, is if I plant some seeds and they never grow and you check them each day and there's still nothing and nothing and nothing. So it means that something went wrong in the planting process. So I want to show you a couple of things that I do or use when I plant a garden or plant flowers in my yard. The first thing I'm going to do is start with a really good potting mix. And if I'm using this for my flowers, I will use this. But if I'm planting a vegetable garden, I'll also use a good soil, but I'll use a fertilizer, and more than likely it's going to be manure. And I know that sounds really icky, but it really does help the soil to help the seeds grow and do their job. So one of the first things we're going to do is I'm going to till the soil, and that's what this tool is used for. And it basically helps me get the soil loose and soft and gets out all the stones, the rocks, and the twigs that might be there from last year or over the winter. And something else I'll use is this little tool here is great for getting out weeds because you can dig down and bring them up by the root, because if you just pull them up by the top of the weed, that root is still in there and it's going to grow again. So you want to make sure you get the root of the weed out. Something else that I will use in my flower beds is a plant food. And this one's made specifically for flowers, but they also make one that's for vegetables. Another thing that I will do is make sure I use a good weed killer throughout the year because, like I said before, the weeds will take over the plant or the seed and cause it to die, and the weed will grow, and that's what you'll end up growing. This tool here helps you to dig down really deep and get a good size hole to put your seed in or your flower. And it lets it so its roots can expand and get to the good water that's down there. And of course, we want to wear our garden gloves when we garden because it's going to protect us from some of these chemicals that we're using and also the dirt and the bugs that are there. Now, this is something we all need to have around. This is really good for watering our plants that are in pots, maybe on our porch. Or hanging baskets. Now, if we have a vegetable garden, we're going to have like a water hose and maybe a sprinkler so it can get all of the land and get everything has to have water. So you can kind of tell by looking at all of these things that gardening and having flowers is a lot of work. We have to be really intentional about our planting and what we do to prepare the soil and get the seeds ready. So it takes a lot of work. And it would be really silly for me to think that I could just throw some seeds out there and put them maybe where the sun never shines. It's never going to get rainwater, or the soil is dry and cracked, and nothing's ever going to grow in a situation like that. So let's read our story today and see what this farmer did. And this is in our Jesus Calling Bible storybook. And it says, Jesus told wonderful stories called parables. Remember, we learned about a parable last week? And it says, parables help people understand God's kingdom and know that Jesus is the King. He told them important truths through simple stories about things in their everyday lives. So a farmer went out to plant seeds. Some seeds fell on a road, and the birds came and gobbled them up. Some sprouted in rocky soil but died because their roots weren't deep enough to find water. Others fell among weeds. When they sprouted, the weeds choked them out. But a few seeds fell on good ground, and they grew tall and strong. At harvest time, the farmer said, "Oh my! These few seeds have produced bushels and bushels of grain, 100 times as much as was planted." Jesus explained his story. He said, "I am like a farmer planting God's words in different places. These seeds are like people. People on the road hear my Father's words, but they don't understand them. Then Satan comes like the birds and snatches those precious words away. People on rocky soil accept God's words for a while and then give up. They aren't strong enough to keep growing. Those in the weeds are too busy with wants and worries to understand God's words. But the people on good ground hear and believe. Because I love them, they are very thankful, and they show me by loving others." Just like the farmer in today's story, Jesus wants our hearts to be like good soil, and that would be ready to obey his words. So we have to pay attention to our hearts and to make sure that they don't get hard and dry like the soil that we heard about that wasn't good for the seeds that the farmer planted. So let's do our memory verse. And remember, this is Jesus talking. And he says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me." And that's found in John chapter 14, verse 6. And today's coloring page that we're going to send you shows the farmer, and he's got his bag of seeds that he's tossing out onto the ground. And if you'll notice, we've got different types of soil here. This has already got some weeds growing, and you can tell if he throws the seeds there, they're going to get choked out right away. And this one over here, the birds are already there ready to gobble up the seeds that he's thrown. And over here, this looks like this is where the good soil was, because the seeds have already started producing plants. And then, of course, your story is on the back. And our craft for this week, you've got several options. I know that we've used these before in class, and maybe you have something like this laying around. You could even use a little Dixie cup if you don't have one of these biodegradable little pots, and just put some soil in it, and then some seeds, whatever you would like to try and plant, whether you want to try for a vegetable or a flower. You can get these type of seeds really cheap, like at Dollar Tree. And so you could do that, or something that they've come up with in the past couple of years, and I absolutely love these. They're already in a pot. Everything that you need here is in this grow kit. It comes with your pot. There's a little bag of soil in here, and also your seeds. And the instructions are on the back, and it even tells you like in how many days you should expect to see your plant to grow, and also lets you know what type of light and how much watering you should do. And so I've seen these in different sizes. So maybe you can get some of those this week. Or you can do this, and what I simply did is just created my own little paper garden. You've got your soil here and some seeds that haven't started growing yet. But you can make flowers out of cupcake liners. And all I had was pink, but I'm sure you've got other colors too. So that would be a fun little thing to do. So something that I want to tell your mom and dad about is one of my all-time favorite books. And it goes so well with our story today. It's called Seeds and Trees, and it's by Brandon Walden. And it's about planting good seeds versus bad seeds. And one of the things that we can remember is whatever we water is what's going to grow. And so he talks about in here the different things that you can water, and some things aren't so good and some things are great. So just remember about planting good seeds versus bad seeds. And the illustrations are really, really pretty. But this is a great book for any age. I think anybody will enjoy it and get a lot out of it. Brandon also has a website called The Treasured Tree, and he has a lot of really great resources on there for helping children learn about encouraging the hearts of young children, I guess I should say. So it's a really great, phenomenal book and website as well, that he has a lot to offer. So also, I've included 3 new worship songs for you this week. And so take a look at those and start learning those. And I can't wait to see you again. And make sure you join us here again next week for another parable. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.